Hello, and thank you for joining my Google Hangout on Air. My name is Michael Rodriguez, and I'm the e-learning librarian here at Hodges University, and I also volunteer as social media manager for the Library and Information Technology Association, or LIDA, which is a national nonprofit organization for librarians and library technology folks with over 3,000 paying members. So let me go ahead and switch over to my PowerPoint presentation, and we shall see what we can do to explore LIDA's growth in social media over the past 9 months. So your professor invited me to this class to share my social media insights, developed over the past 9 months of managing Twitter and Facebook for LIDA, and also consolidating and streamlining LIDA's other social media channels, including Flickr, LinkedIn, and now Instagram. So as LIDA's social media manager for this period of time, I have increased Twitter and Facebook organic reach and engagement by metrics of 200 to 600%. This was huge. And by organic reach and engagement, I mean the amount of people we were able to reach and convinced to interact with our posts without using advertising. So this is 100% natural interaction of Twitter and Facebook users with our posts. And this growth of up to 600% on various metrics has translated not only into greater visibility and impact for the organization, but also into sold out programs, which means more money, and possibly even an uptick in membership. And these successes for me were very valuable because even though it was done on a volunteer capacity, I did get a very nice one-page shout out in LIDA's annual report to their board of directors. So that was great. And the most interesting part of this Twitter and Facebook growth is not so much that I sent out more tweets or garnered more followers, but primarily because I made the tweets more interesting. And let's take a look at some of the statistics before we go further. LIDA's president has referred to me as a metrics maven, so I'm going to go ahead and throw some stats at you. So I chose a 60-day representative period from 2014, before I began managing LIDA's social media, and 2015, after I began managing LIDA's social media, and after I had started to get a little bored and slacked off a bit. So as you can see, the number of tweets themselves increased. There are about 40 tweets more than the previous period of time. So that's maybe a 40% increase or so. The number of impressions, and this refers to the folks that our tweets actually reached. So our tweets appeared in their feed, and they may have seen those tweets. That increased pretty significantly by about 170, 180%. Engagement rate ticked upward by about 80% as well, from 0.9% to 1.6%. Engagement rate means that the person actually interacted with the tweet. So of all the people who saw the tweet, 1.6% actually clicked on it, for example. That's not a gargantuan increase, but it's actually really respectable when you look at corporate and even individual social media. I have gotten engagement rates of up to 5 or 7% on individual tweets, but I think my highest average over time was about 4% over a couple of weeks in September of last year. Where we really see spectacular growth is in link clicks, retweets, and favorites. So these are actual engagements when people click on a link in the tweet, when they retweet it and share it to their own followers, or when they favorite it, and which is the same as liking something on Facebook. Those metrics increased by about 500 to 600%, which is enormous. And again, the number of tweets the number of people the tweets reached is actually disproportionate to the growth in the number of folks who actually interacted with the tweet. So that documents that the tweets became more interesting and relevant to audiences, and they were more likely to interact with those tweets. So how did I manage to increase these metrics so significantly? There are a few tips I have for growing organizational impact. The first is to use common hashtags and keywords. So a hashtag essentially used a pound sign followed by a word or a short phrase. And as a result, you are actually going to get more reach. More people are going to see your tweets, because oftentimes people who may not be familiar with Leda, for example, will be very interested in a hashtag for web design or for web accessibility, and they will keep an eye on that hashtag and notice any tweets that appear tagged with that particular hashtag that they're interested in. So this is a great way to increase your organic reach. You don't want to overuse hashtags. Never use more than 3 per tweet, but they're a great tool. Second, you should use an image for each post. People are so visual on social media. There's been studies documenting that people interact with tweets or with Facebook posts 3 or 4 times more if there is an image or a video as opposed to just text. So include images, but also be aware of copyright issues. You don't want to go posting stuff that you're legally not allowed to be distributing online. So what I usually do is I use free image sources like Flickr or Pixabay or one of those photo aggregators online. Or I pull images directly from the source I'm distributing. So for example, if I'm tweeting out somebody's blog post and that blog post contains an image, I might copy that into my tweet, that image, and that's okay. Third, schedule posts in advance. We all have hectic work schedules, life intervenes. So what I like to do is use TweetDeck or Hootsuite or Facebook's built-in scheduling tool in order to create a tweet or a post and then have it appear and go public at a set date and time in the future. Posts should be customized for audiences prevalent on each social media service, because Facebook, and we'll look at this in a minute, has a very different demographic base, for example, than Twitter, and you need to be conscious of that. Fourth, you need to reward fans. So if somebody is really enthusiastic about you and likes all your stuff and shares all your stuff, you should try to reward them, to encourage them to keep on doing so and to encourage other fans to start doing so. So maybe favorite stuff they do, maybe mention them, send them a thank you note via social media, follow them back. You do want to be selective in this, of course, because following everybody or favoriting everything can drive down your can kind of drive down the sense that that you are offering something unique and special, and this could impact your brand. But you need to reward your fans. That's very important. And you also need to read your analytics. Twitter and Facebook and other social media channels have great built-in analytics breaking down the number of impressions each tweet had, patterns and trends over time. Really phenomenal analytics, and I encourage you to take a look at them. And you also want to share content outside your own blog or organization. So if you have a blog, absolutely tweet out your blog posts. If you're running social media for an organization, definitely share the fact that they have a new CEO or that they're releasing a new product. But you also want to distribute content that doesn't come from your organization, good stuff that other people came up with, because this actually will increase your engagement big time because it demonstrates your relevance. So if your Twitter exists only to market your own stuff, then most people are going to ignore it or unfollow it because it's just annoying and it really isn't doing much to educate, enlighten, or entertain them. And consistency. One of my achievements at Leda was creating a 7-page social media style guide to make sure that everybody who posts social media for Leda is maintains a consistent tone and style and approach. And that's particularly important with organizational accounts when you have maybe a whole team of folks who are tweeting or posting for the organization. So what about individuals and growing your personal brand? I would say there are 5 points you really need to be aware of. The first is that you need to interact productively and proactively with other folks on Twitter. So if somebody says something interesting, reply to them. If someone asks a question, reply to them on Twitter. If someone posts something that you really like, maybe favorite that, maybe share that, and chances are they will start following you and they will respond to you, and then you'll get a really good interaction going. And that relates to the second point too, which is follow people. So follow influencers, people in your field who are significant, who are up and coming, and also follow folks who are likely to follow you back. So peers, people on your level, and not just the big CEOs and the national organizations, but ordinary folks who are active on Twitter and whom you would like to cultivate a relationship with on a professional basis. Third, participate in Twitter hashtag chats. Usually, whether your field is marketing or library science or business, there are going to be designated times when everybody's going to log into, when a bunch of people are going to log into Twitter and participate in a live, real-time question and answer session. So how it usually does, the hashtag chat moderator tweets out a question. Maybe a dozen people respond to that question and get a conversation going. The moderator then asks another question and so on. And all these conversations are grouped using a unique hashtag. So these Twitter chats are a really fantastic way to get to know folks in your field and to get insights and knowledge from them. And I highly encourage participating in those. At the same time, lurking is perfectly okay. You can hang out and read the tweets, and that's fine. You don't have to participate, and definitely don't feel compelled to participate. You can get a lot of knowledge and insights just by witnessing what other people are saying and doing. And you do want to commit to your social media, though. Twitter is a big commitment. It's a system, social media platform that is really built for power users rather than the merely curious. So you really need to think through how much you're willing to, in terms of energy and time, how much you're willing to commit to each social media platform and whether it matches what you need. So here's an example of a tweet I sent out on behalf of LIDA. And you'll notice several key characteristics. First, there's an image, and that picture is of a person. And so right away, there's a human connection there. We see a picture of somebody, and we automatically establish a connection, and maybe we want to read the text above. And we see it's an interview with an emerging leader. And I connected this tweet to the Isabel's own Twitter account. So again, the personal human touch. I included a hashtag, library life, which is very commonly used among librarians on Twitter. And I included a short link. So rather than a 500-character link, the way you can go up and copy and paste into from the address bar into a tweet, that looks messy. So what I did, I shortened the link, and now it looks really nice and tidy, and people are more likely to click on it because it has visual appeal. And I got great interaction on this. This is one of my highest scoring tweets in the last couple weeks. 15 retweets and 12 favorites, as you'll notice from the metrics just underneath the photo. Facebook is quite a different animal from Twitter, though. So Facebook, in my experience, tends to be an older demographic. There are a lot of retirees who follow LIDA's Facebook channel. There are also a lot of international folks, so people from India, from Brazil, from France follow us on Facebook far more than they do on Twitter. So you really need to keep that audience in mind. What is the target audience for your Facebook? And how can you adjust your social media persona or your organization's social media persona to really capture that audience? So in the case of Facebook and Lita, what I try to do is entertain people. Maybe I post something humorous, something off the beaten track, and don't keep it strictly business and professional. I also use lots of visuals. So I put in videos, I put in thumbnail photos, I put in full spread photos. Facebook is really phenomenal for sharing photos too, because people love photos. So if you are at an event or a conference or a graduation or anything and you share photos from that event on Facebook, you're pretty much guaranteed significant engagement and a lot of likes and a lot of shares. And you do need to share. Same with Twitter, you want to share stuff that goes outside your organization because that's how you keep people engaged and that's how you keep your channel relevant. Blogging. So in addition to my social media managing practices for Lita, I also blog for Lita. And last year, I also blogged for Hack Library School, which is a collaborative blog that was by, of, and for students who are studying library science in graduate school. So, and this really speaks to the fact that with blogging, you really want to find a niche. You want to find a topic or subtopic or area to focus on that a lot of other blogs are not covering. So demonstrate that you're unique and you will find an audience. And collaborative blogging is phenomenal because there's less pressure on you as an individual. And it's hard to maintain a blog all by yourself. It's a lot of work writing those posts and marketing them. But if you have 5 or 10 or 20 people who are blogging together and working together, that is a great way to not only network, but to take some of the pressure off and to build your reputation in the online market of your choice. And of course, you want to publicize your blog. So if you have a blog, you really want to have Twitter and you want to have Facebook and you want to comment on other blogs and interact with other bloggers and try to get your name and your posts out there as much as possible. And that way people will bookmark you and they'll add you to their RSS feeds and hopefully you'll develop a good audience for your blog. And of course, you always want to assess how your blog is doing. So read your metrics, read your analytics, see what posts are the most popular, see what posts were largely overlooked, and see how relevant your topic still is. I mean, if you've been blogging on the same topic for 5 years, it's possible the conversation has moved on. So you may want to take a look at your analytics and see if you need to reorient what your blog is focusing on. And finally, I really wanted to talk about this, about relationships. There are huge benefits to using social media professionally or as an organization. I mean, there's networking. You can network with colleagues and peers and potentially future employers. You can educate yourself about current trends and about news and keep up with conversations happening in your field. But the most important thing is to develop relationships with people. So let me give you an example of that. One of my best long distance friends is Brianna Marshall, and she's a librarian who lives in Wisconsin. We blogged for Lita and Hack Library School. We tweeted at each other a lot, but we never actually met in person for almost 2 years. So when we finally went to Oregon for a conference and got together in Portland, it was brilliant. We even rented a car and went on a West Coast road trip. And now we're working together on a bunch of professional projects and making a name for ourselves in the library profession. So my point in saying this is that social media and blogging can be incredible for building these fantastic productive relationships with folks that you may not interact with on a daily or weekly basis. Social media and blogging really are incredibly relevant to the quote unquote real world. So if you find yourselves running social media for somebody, anybody, a national organization, even a huge billion-dollar company. Remember that your priority isn't to market stuff or sell stuff. Your priority is to build relationships with people. Those can be customers, those can be users, those can be colleagues or peers or other companies, but there are always people that you need to build those relationships with. So if you remember nothing else from today's presentation, do remember that social media and blogging is not only about sharing information or marketing stuff. It is above all about building relationships with people to whom you can then market and network with. So that's your big takeaway from today's session. Social media is all about building relationships with people. Thank you very much for listening, and please do let me know if you have any questions. You can post in the comments under this YouTube video, or you can contact me through Blackboard or through my Hodges University email. So let me know, and I hope this was helpful for you, and have a great rest of the day.